All right, talking to business fans, Lord help us. That's right. We're talking to business with the fastest rising star of UWA. I guess that's the way to pronounce it.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's very simple. We got Bradzilla up in the house today. We're going to be talking to business. Lord help us. First beers, more coming. This is going to be fun. The former SWE heavyweight champ, three-time tag champ.
Former.
Oh, you're still?
I am still the SWE heavyweight champion.
That's what you get when you don't watch enough indie wrestling and you're working 60 hours this week. But three-time KC&DAVE tag champ, one-time UWA tag champ, the current tag partner of the legend Apollo.
Yes, sir.
We could go on and on and on. This is in just 2 years. So when we're talking about rising star in the Kentucky, Indiana area, we're not joking. And this is what we wanted to bring the fans, was that independent guy, the love of the business, who really wanted, just to share what's going on in the indie scene today. So, Brad, we're glad to have you here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, let's start with, and this is almost, I guess, a tradition now for the show, because we almost have the same first question for every show. And that's because we want to bring in guys who love the business.
Absolutely.
So to me, there's always that moment. And there's the moment where you're watching and whatever, 12, 14, and you go, that's what I'm going to do. This is what made me love the professional wrestling business. So for Bradzilla, what was that moment?
I didn't have the privilege of watching the Saturday morning at the Louisville Gardens and all that like most people had. My mom pretty much banned me from wrestling for as long as she could until I caught on to it myself. I remember I was over at our neighbor's house. We just moved into a new house, meeting the neighbors. Went over there. He had a one of the original play wrestling rings, and he had Undertaker and a Stone Cold in it, and he had them going at it. I didn't really understand it much, and they had Raw on. It was probably, I think it was close to end segment, and I remember looking and seeing Undertaker crucifying Stone Cold Steve Austin. And at that moment, the Ministry of Darkness, probably my favorite Undertaker, next to the American Badass, which was, I consider those two different entities.
Oh, most definitely.
But
most definitely.
that was the moment when I was like, what the hell is this, and where can I watch more of it? And from then on, it took off. I started learning, there's video games for this?
Oh,
where can I play these?
Most definitely.
For the longest time, on video games, my name was always Brad Cold or Brad Stone Cold, because Stone Cold was my guy, Undertaker was my guy, because when I first started watching, that was the initial image that was burned in my head of these two guys, so that's who I followed for the longest time.
And I was actually I'm not saying anything bad about Stone Cold, but I was actually a stunning Steve Austin guy, having grown up in Texas, watching him, from world class, and then go obviously to NWA and his work with the Dangerous Alliance. Back then, the technical Steve Austin to me was amazing. He was Malenko before there was a Malenko. I mean, he could go for 35 minutes, chain wrestle all night long. So that, I get that. I dig that. Steve, one for you, most definitely.
But not this one. This one's mine.
I wouldn't touch Bradzilla's beer, please. Saying that, let's talk about the state of indie wrestling today, because I think you can give a really unique kind of look into it, because everyone talks about the territory days, and if I hear it one more time on the internet, I'm going to puke from a mark. To me, and I state this very clearly, the territories are coming back. And what I mean by that, whether you go out to Oakland, and we're talking about Hood Slam drawing 1,000 people a show, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla was at 800 for 3 consecutive nights for a Battle of Los Angeles this year. Luke Haas down in Louisiana with Wildcat Sports drawing thousands. House of Hardcore drawing 850. The territories are slowly coming back. So being that indie wrestler now, you're starting to make a name for yourself in this area. What do you see?
I've seen a lot of excitement, that's for sure. Coming up the way I did, I was trained by Cash Flow initially, and he was, when he got started, he was around during when the territories were kind of starting to fade away, and a lot of independent circuits started coming up. Everybody started coming up with these crazy abbreviations with like 7 letters in them and all that, and
Now, if I correct me if I'm wrong, Cashflow actually spent some time in IWA Mid South, did he
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's. If I remember what he told me, I believe that is where he was trained. He was trained there, and where I am now, kind of seeing where everything's going from where I started, and I've only been in 2 years, but I've seen a lot in 2 years.
Oh,
it's been very fast.
You got to look at your trainers. You're not only talking about Cashflow, but
Apollo
again,
as well.
Apollo being a legend in the area. That's a lot of influence in the first 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I had Cash pretty much beat my ass for pretty much a year straight in training. I mean, if Cash was beating your ass in training, that meant he liked you.
Okay.
And he saw something in you. And once my time with Cash kind of came to an end, and I started kind of going out on my own, is when I kind of went to Apollo and kind of, started working with him and seeing things from his side. So I was able to get, a lot of perspective from two vets. And everything they've told me from, their time to now, it definitely looks like that territory is coming back. I think the biggest issue right now is a lot of promoters don't want to work together to make the territory possible.
And you hear that, and it's sad. It really is, and I think that's a situation where I know there's been a lot of rumors around the area when it comes to KDW and UWA, and there's been a little clash there, from my understanding. And I'm if you can't discuss it, I do understand, but that's not a irregular thing. Hopefully, though, when you see a company like a Ring of Honor, who now has an exclusive deal with Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, maybe promoters will change their mind seeing something like that. You hope. Obviously,
hope so.
Evolve and Dragon Gate now have their own deal with NXT. So you're hoping, but you do hear a lot of stories like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it all, and it's not that I wouldn't discuss any of it. It's one of those things where, rumors and stuff like this, it fluctuates so often and so quickly in and out. And, this area in particular, we have a lot of independent federations in this one little area. And, it can be difficult to, get along with everybody because you're selling to it's not really a small market, but it's a smaller market than most places.
I wouldn't disagree with that, and you're right, there is a lot of product, but at the same time, there's a lot of product because there's a lot of talent.
Yeah,
there's a lot of young talent, a lot of guys
there.
coming up, and
it's almost too much to handle when you look at how many actual trained wrestlers you have in this area. It's incredible.
It really is, and you talk about training, and we've had this discussion already, but there's so, even in this little bitty area, whether you're training with Apollo, whether you're obviously Rip Rogers and OVW, Mitch Huff has one of the alumni here for the show. He's got his training ground going down in Jeffersonville, the Grindhouse. There's 3 or 4 places just to train within a 40-mile radius, just right here in town.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely insane, and the talent that's coming out is great. So we're going to step away from this for a second.
Okay.
We actually sent out something on Facebook, and we said, well, fans, what do you want to know from these guys? And actually, there was a couple of questions. There's a Jake Canet. He wants to know your thoughts on Jerome Burroughs.
Jerome Burroughs.
What is going on here?
Jerome Burroughs, he's insane. He can't control himself. When he gets a win, he just gets so excited. He yells his name really loud and then just runs out of the ring and starts running down the street. This guy is insane.
So he's kind of like Mojo Rawley on cocaine.
A little bit, and I can't.
Oh my God!
I cannot wait. He's actually he's an up and coming UWA guy.
Okay.
Oh, it's gonna be fantastic when he gets his opportunity and he gets his first win. It's gonna be great. This man is pure energy. He is pure charisma. You have to see it live.
Oh my gosh.
You have got to see it live.
Oh wow.
Great.
And we also got this other question from an Andrew Boeing. And he said, do you remember a time at UWF when he had more swag than you? Now, folks, we're talking about swag. If you have not seen Bradzilla wrestle, there's a lot of swag going on. And so he's claiming I didn't know if this was a rib or not. Please explain to the fans here.
So when Justin and I, Justin Storm and myself, started tagging together about probably a year and a half ago, we were I think we weren't the Party O Bros yet. The Party O Bros came later. I think they just called us the Party Animals.
Okay.
And our whole thing was we would just, we'd get like nice glasses, nice hats, cool looking hoodies, and we were the current champions down at UWF. We called ourselves the Swag Team Champions.
Oh, Lord help us all.
And there was a guy in the crowd, Mr. Andrew Bowen Browning, it might be Browning, I think, who tried to compete with our swag. And, at first it was funny, and then it became insulting.
Oh.
It became insulting that somebody would think that he could out-swag the Swag Team Champions. There's a reason that the word champion is after Swag Team. We're the best at it. But there was a time where he came in, he had some knockoff Ray-Bans and a money hat. And at that moment, I shook that man's hand and gave him respect because he had outswagged me that night.
Oh, no, and see, that's a big thing. When I got the question, I'm sitting back there and I'm laughing because I'm just like, have you not seen swag? Really? Come on.
But
no, it was a great question.
It goes with the relationship that, I like to have with the fans. Everywhere I go, I want to have that relationship with them to where I can go out to them and they know me and I know them and we can feed off each other.
And that really reads into the next question I had because you're a babyface for the most part, and you do get a great reaction from the crowd. I was going to ask, when you come down that ramp, whether it be with UWA or another company, how do you want to interact with the crowd? How do you want them to, as being that babyface, are you wanting to get them hyped, or is it more of a situation as, yeah, you're the babyface, I want to get in the ring and get sympathy to get, how do you approach it with the crowd?
Oh, it's both. Being a guy my size, 6'4", 280 pounds, the sympathy thing it's a little harder.
Yeah,
it's a little harder for me because I have my size. My thing is I want to get them hyped. I want to get them as energized as I am for that match. So when I come through the curtain or come through the door that doesn't have a handle on it, that moment I come through is when it switches. And I go from, normal everyday Brad to Bradzilla. And what Bradzilla is, it's just an amplification of who I've always been inside, but growing up being, my doctor didn't think I was going to be over like 5'6", and growing up being a smaller guy and being bullied a lot, I always wanted to be larger than life. And when the opportunity came and I got into professional wrestling and the Bradzilla gimmick was born, it became Bradzilla is essentially myself amplified times 1,000.
And those are the best characters.
Yeah, so when I go out there, it switches on, and my focus is make sure that no matter what happens in this ring, as long as that audience is satisfied and they're entertained, then it's all worth it.
Now, the next, where I really kind of want to go with this, is you've had so much success early on in your career as a tag wrestler. Mm-hmm. You've broken off, actually, and done extremely well as a single. So for you, where do you see you? Is this a situation where you're more comfortable with singles, or are you more comfortable in the tag situation? Because it's two totally different philosophies getting in the ring.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me to answer.
You're tagging with a legend right now,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's awesome.
It
definitely has so much monetary status compared to everything else. And when I started working, I was under a hood for a while, and the main reason behind that was to give me ring time, so I could have that experience with crowds and live audiences to learn how to work. And
I'm not gonna. I hate to interrupt, fans. Just a big point that you just hit on. Probably one of the biggest names in wrestling right now, Sami Zayn. Obviously, he won't answer this honestly, but he started off as El Generico. I know.
I'm gonna call him.
I
don't have his number.
Really? Because it's Tijuana, but that's the orphanage. But anyway, 8 years learning how to sell and tell a story in the ring without facial expression.
Yeah.
And you watch his development, and then you get to NXT, he takes the hood off, and wow. He's able to take all the body reactions. Now you match them with the facials that you haven't seen before, and he's skyrocketed to a whole nother level. So please, yeah.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate he got injured as quickly as he did. It was such a quick rise.
Oh, I know.
Immediately get injured, and it's like, where's that momentum going to go when you get to come back? Hopefully it continues on where it was going.
Well, the rumor is that, obviously the next NXT takeover being a few days before WrestleMania 32. From my understanding, I'm hearing him and Finn Balor for the NXT title. Dream matchup for most fans. I think if you're an indie wrestling fan of the past 5 years, I don't know if there's a better matchup than that.
And I didn't start watching indie wrestling until about 2 years ago when I started training.
Oh, really?
I was dumb. I was dumb to indie wrestling. I didn't know really what it was. I went to one. We'll get back to the first subject. But I went to a show down at here in Louisville at the Mel High School, and it was actually the first time I ever watched Apollo wrestle.
Okay.
They had a show down there, and that was my first time experiencing wrestling that wasn't WWE, and I really enjoyed it because you had a lot more fan interaction with that.
Oh, most definitely.
It was so cool.
But let's get,
I'll
get back on track for just a second.
Tag wrestling, single wrestling. Tag team wrestling is a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun when you can feed off your partner if you have good chemistry. Me and Justin, we had being the key word, good chemistry. Apollo and I, we have good chemistry because we spend a lot of time together.
Okay.
We know each other. We know what the other one can do. We can feed off each other. It's awesome. But when I broke away from tag team wrestling, was kind of to prove something to myself, because I'd been in a tag team so long. I hadn't done maybe a couple singles matches. I was like, I want to prove that I'm not just the guy that takes the hot tag or takes the heat.
Gotcha.
I want to show that I can get in there and I can work with them. And so, I broke away from the tag team. I did the singles run. I had a very successful singles run early on. Got the SWE Bluegrass Championship, which then turned into capturing the SWE Heavyweight Championship. And, it all happened so fast, I didn't really even have time to stop and appreciate it. It was, okay, now I'm the champion. I'm going to have to face guys that have been in this business a lot longer than me and a lot better than me. A guy like Jordan Cage, who, God, I love working with that guy. We only got a chance to work a couple times together, and he wants to, he wants to go. He calls all the spots, and he pushes you. He makes sure that you can survive a 30-minute match. And then I got to work my trainer Cash Flow. Him and I went 35 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And
now that had to be because Cash can really lay it in. Let's be honest.
That's where
again, that's another YouTube fans. Go check out Cash Flow matches.
Just watch his chops. That's where I learned to chop from. Because if you didn't chop him back the way he chopped you, you're getting one harder.
Get a price.
You're going to get harder. So really, I dabbled in tag team. I dabbled in singles. I learned I can be good at both.
Okay.
So for me here, 2015 is ending in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Bradzilla 2015 is about to be over with. Bradzilla 2016, I want to take it to another level.
Okay.
I want to show that. It kind of sucked to me on like a personal level when I had that success early on, because a lot of guys didn't like that. They thought I got too much too soon. But when you look at the backstage, in Apollo's interview, he talked about pretty much having a master's degree in ring breakdown and setup. That was kind of what happened with me with SWE. We had a lot of trainees leave, and there were many nights. We ran every Friday, so Thursdays we'd come in for training, and after training we'd set up. We'd set up and we'd do training. So there were a lot of nights where I'd be the only one setting up the arena. I'd be the only one breaking down the ring, tightening the ropes, tightening the canvas, making sure everything was to the Kentucky standards for wrestling. Your barricade had to be so far from the audience, stuff like that.
Okay.
So, I busted my ass hard, and I still bust my ass. That's not going to change. And now it's, I'm still paying my dues.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And
I'll never stop paying them. That's how it is.
I can only tell you from a fan's perspective. Most people know I'm a ridiculous Mount Rushmore fan.
I couldn't tell.
No, never. Saying that, to be the best under 26-year-old or 26-year-old wrestler in the business today, Adam Cole, baby! You're talking about a guy who had the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion at the age of 23. Just 4 years into the business. Still paying his dues today, but probably one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world today. So, yeah, you're paying your dues, but as a fan, when you see that guy, age does not matter.
Yeah.
You paid your dues, you're going in, and you're awarding, and you're doing your thing. And I can't, like I said, maybe other than Kevin Owens, I can't think of a better heel right now than Adam Cole. He comes down that ring, and it's like, that's one arrogant SOB. God, I want to hate him. You can't help it. Oh, and by the way, he can just back up in the ring by going crazy with his style.
Oh, yeah.
Saying that, I mean, you pay your dues, you do your thing, and that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
and if other guys don't get it, well, you know what the fans do. You know, and you got how many shirts does Adam Cole sell? My God. The fans obviously get it. So, you know, that kind of stuff, you hear about politics and all that, and man, you just keep doing what you're doing. I do want to talk about 2016 for Bradzilla because obviously UWA is growing a lot.
Oh yeah.
Fans,
it
and
is
again,
exploded.
Yeah, and again, every Monday night, channel 185, 10 p.m. Replays on Saturday morning.
11 p.m.
I'm sorry, 11 p.m. Saturday morning, 10 a.m.
Yes.
On the replay. It's really exploding. The growth of it. Where does Bradzilla fit into that for 2016? I mean, what are your goals going into this?
I mean, my goal, like any wrestler, you know, is to be not only be the top guy in a company, but you know, hold the gold that says you're the top guy in that company.
Okay.
That you've busted your rear in doing everything you've done, and even if it takes me till December 31st, 2016, to finally capture the UWA heavyweight title, you know, that's still my goal. There's going to be small goals along the way, but that main goal is still, you know, that's still right there. It's right in front of me.
And fans, if you haven't watched UWA, again, January 17th, New Albany Production House, big TV taping.
Oh, yeah.
KC&DAVE will be there. We're looking forward to meeting all the fans, guys in the back. There's a reason we're excited about the product because we've seen the growth, and it's very different from some of the products around here. And I think I told this story with when James was here. The last show we watched, there was a great opening segment where there was you had to pay off a debt of $1 and some change. And I'm sitting here laughing about this on this opening promo, but it wasn't insulting to adults. It had a little edge to it, but it was still family friendly. And I was like, wow, they've got something here. And I'm dying as a fan to see, okay, well, where are you going to take this? You know, you're coming off of, right now you're in the middle of a huge feud. You're having to deal with James, God bless you. And then Big Zoe, I would not want to get anywhere near him in the ring. God knows.
Oh, I love Big Zoe. When him and I get in there together, you know, what they call them, ham hocks.
Oh,
They just start
yeah.
flying. We were in the middle of a match. He just headbutted me. I headbutted him right back. I think that might have been the show you were there. I can't remember. But we were both down in the middle of the ring, and he just headbutts me like Junkyard Dog. I headbutt him right back. We traded a couple of headbutts. I'm like, okay, that's enough. I can't feel my head anymore. He's got a big, hard head, and he's got dreadlocks that probably cushions him a little bit.
Oh, I would never mention Zoe's dreadlocks. But saying that, I mean,
I love Zoe.
great guy, and this is what we're talking about, fans. A lot of young talent in the area, and you're getting to watch it on TV there at the New Albany Production House. It's a wonderful time. I cannot suggest to people enough. I'm going to wrap this up with one in particular question, and God, 2 years. So, we're going to actually be cutting a year in review, look ahead show. You're a fan, and
Yes.
you're a wrestler.
Yes.
So, where do you see things leading in the next couple of years? Take yourself out of the equation. You see where the industry is now. Where do you see it 2 years from now?
As much as it has changed in just the couple of years I've been in it, it's so hard to tell, what's going to happen next.
Oh, most definitely.
I think in the next couple of years you're going to see.
Will TNA be around? That's got to be a big question. I mean,
I spent when I was working with SWE, we brought in Robbie E a couple times, and being the trainee, I'm the one that escorted him around, drove him places.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to spend pretty much 2 weekends with him, and he spoke very highly of the TNA product. My thought is TNA is always going to find a way to survive. Somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to keep surviving. I think TNA will still be around, probably in a much smaller capacity. But as for wrestling as a whole, I see in the next 2 years, maybe not an explosion of the territories reemerging, but definitely much larger signs of it.
And I agree, and I think the internet has a big part to do with that, because if I want to go check out a more adult product like Hood Slam, it's $1.99 on YouTube. And I can catch every show every month. If I want to catch more technical, Evolve, Dragon Gate again, you can go on YouTube and catch it. So there's a little something for everybody, and it's a little bit easier to get a hold of than maybe it was just a few years ago. Brad, this has been a blast. This has been fun. We actually need more beer, so we got to cut this. I know it's almost empty, but I got to do something and step away for just a second. As you know, I did an audition tape for another show. Shh, JP, I'm sorry. Called Booking the Territory a while back. And see, they got this guy named Doc who's the co-host, and Doc is an ass. I can't even say he's a heel because that would be too nice. So Doc missed a couple of shows, and I get this, maybe we should find an audition tape, and so if this ever happens again, we can have someone fill in for him. So Mike Mills, my boy, Hardbody Harper, love you all to death. I sent in an audition tape, and I guess it scared Doc a little bit when he came back, and Mr. Mentally Irregular had an issue with it, especially on this week's podcast. So, Doc, this is going out to you. Since you think you're so much better than me at this, Mr. Mentally Irregular, you have an open invitation. Anytime you want, KC, JP, talking the business, you can get on the show. Be glad to have you. But when you go home crying to your little Tony Romo photos, I don't want to hear anything about it. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what you're talking about. Just so you know. Sorry, I had to break that up, but, to all the Book of the Territory fans, I had to do it.
I got a little tense, bro.
I know, but my God, the babyface had to say something to that nasty, dastardly heel, and God bless it, why do you have to be a Cowboys fan while you're at it? Anyway, breaking away.
Wait a minute.
Are you?
Yeah, bro, I grew up on them.
Really?
I don't like Romo, but I like Cowboys.
Okay, I was going to give you need heel, but that's okay. As long as you're not a Romo fan, we're okay. Yeah, we're okay.
Come on, dog. Throwing people under the bus like that.
My brother from college is a big Cowboys fan. David Eubanks, love you all to death, brother.
It goes like this. Not all Cowboys fans are Romo fans.
Oh, see, I just thought you all lived and died with him, and then,
No. My grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a Cowboys fan for years and years till the day he died, and he still hates Tony Romo. It's happens. We would.
So some of them have taste.
We would sit in an environment like this, watch a Cowboys game, and pretty much 50% of it was him like, that damn Romo.
All right, well, let's give you, so, Brad, let's give you a chance to plug yourself. Where do I get the Bradzilla shirts? How do I get a hold of you? If I want to book you, how do I,
If you want to book me, you can hit me up on Facebook, the Monstar Bradzilla on Facebook. Hold on, let me grab this real quick because I can never remember
Wow,
these.
we have to go to the phone, but that's okay.
I can never remember these like handles and whatnot. If you want to find me on the Instagram, it's Monstar_Bradzilla. You can find me on there. And if you want to find me on the Twitter,
he stole my line. Jesus, go ahead.
And does it better.
You can find me on the Twitter at 502blackout. That's at 502BLKOUT. Yeah, man, hit me up. I'm in the process of setting up better marketing for myself, so I will have an email address soon that is going to be specifically for bookings and marketing. The Bradzilla shirts, hit me up if you want one. I still got some left. They're only $10.
Hey, you buy the merch, folks. Help them out. If you like the product, buy the merch.
Soon there will be Bradzilla toboggans. This is one of a kind, so I'm sorry, fans, if I don't throw it to you when I come out. It's the only one that exists. And if you want to catch me live in action here locally, January 17th, 1736 East Main Street, New Albany Production House. You can see me live in action there.
Or if you want to take a trip and see Bradzilla in a different environment, you can come down to S&PW in Crossville, Illinois. Either way, the phone's ringing. That must be my manager.
Oh my gosh, booking's already coming in. Folks, this has been a blast. I've had so much fun with Brad. You know how to reach us on the Twitter, which is KCJPTTB20161. Instagram, KCJPTTB. YouTube, Facebook. YouTube, it's KCJPTTB. That's where you're going to actually catch this interview. This is going to be a blast. So,
Can I throw out one more thing?
sure, go ahead, Brad.
If you're an aspiring young professional wrestler and you want to be trained,
Oh,
please come to Apollo's Wrestling School. It's the UWA wrestling school. We meet on Mondays at 6:30 for ring setup, and we normally train for a few hours. If you're going to learn the business, you better learn it right.
And let's be honest, we have Apollo coming on, I think, a week and a half after this show airs. Folks, unbelievable interview. Again, a legend of the Kentucky area, Illinois, Ohio. Apollo's Apollo, and
Yes.
it will be. This is an interview that will touch you in a bunch of different places. A guy who really loves the business, and 22 years in it now.
22
I think
years.
I said 20 the entire interview, but saying that it's going to be a great interview. This was a great interview.
I appreciate
So
it.
much fun, folks. If you have not heard one of the very first podcasts when this debuts in February, we're going to have Bradzilla, James, Enzo, all on the same show, round table, talking the business, and that's what we've done today. Sit back, had a few brewskis, God bless. To my boy, Mr. Silvio, in England, come back soon. JP, get to feeling better. Can't wait to have you back. And it's very simple. Only as Casey and JP can do it. Deuces! Peace!